paint peeling off them old brick signs. Folks work hard, keep their heads down, trying to hold on to better times. Used to leave your door unlocked at night. Now everybody's got a camera on. Still got faith if we get it right, we can fix what's gone wrong. Ain't about talk, ain't about show. It's about the way we live, the way we know. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights. Never standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, hot true stars up above. A little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. It's sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart.
Well, we will shout into the void until we have some listeners and people can watch later on, I suppose. Good evening and welcome into Apex News Above the Noise. I am Kyle Thompson.
And I'm Craig Blanton.
Craig, it's Friday, and this was a week, to say the least. We start with a confirmation fight that came down to one man this morning. Lisa Murkowski announced at 6 a.m. that she's voting against Todd Blanche. That made Bill Cassidy of Louisiana the whole ballgame. And at 20 minutes to 11, Cassidy walked onto the Senate floor and said he's a yes. His words, I'll be criticized for this vote. What's new? So barring something we haven't seen, the president's former personal defense attorney is about to be confirmed as Attorney General of the United States by 1 or 2 votes in a chamber operating 1 seat short because McConnell is not there, although he did participate in a vote by proxy.
Let me ask you this.
Yep.
I saw where a news report said he's at home now.
It's a rumor. And
they in D.C. or Louisville?
No, in D.C.
Why didn't they get a picture of him leaving the hospital going
into his house? They've filmed people. They've taken pictures of people going in and out of his D.C. residence. Yeah,
yes.
It's kind of a mess. McConnell did participate in a farm bill vote today by proxy, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Then the Senate Homeland Security Committee voted yesterday 8-7 to hold Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress. Rand Paul did something yesterday we flagged on Wednesday. He skipped the full Senate entirely and hand-delivered the referral straight to the Justice Department, which means it lands on the desk of a Justice Department Todd Blanche is about to run fully. He already is running it, but he's going to get the full-time gig. Those 2 stories are really one story. Then to the Persian Gulf, where the deal that was supposed to land Wednesday still hasn't landed as of this hour, although they tell us it is imminent, and if it comes through in the next few minutes, which it very well could, considering the way things drop on Fridays, we will let you know. And the reason that it's stuck is not what anybody expected. It is a toll, something that we talked about, that the
$2 million toll still.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk. We have some side topics. McConnell's empty chair obviously decided a cabinet confirmation this week, and Keyshawn Hall, who we talked about with UK, has decided to post a cryptic message with 2 photos in it. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then we actually had open practice yesterday. We talked a little bit, just for a split second yesterday, about that on the show. We actually have some of the video from KSR. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then there's some breaking news this afternoon that we will simply hold off on what that is until we get to the sports section. But you will not want to miss this if you have the opportunity to stick around. But before we get into tonight's show, welcome into Apex News Above the Noise. We built this show so you have you have somewhere to go for real news without the spin. If tonight gives you something to think about, hit that subscribe button, give us a like. It helps spread our show to other people and lets people be able to find it. Make sure you click on that notification bell so you are notified every single time we are about to go live. And make sure you share it with somebody who needs to also be above the noise. So
let me share a little fun first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Today I've been called a boomer, a misogynist,
and
I caused a guy in Woodford County to get a lobotomy.
Interesting.
Or he needs a lobotomy. I recommended he go to the hospital. So
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny.
That's just a typical Friday for you, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, let's get into the first big story. Here's how a cabinet confirmation came down to about 5 hours this morning. Going into today, the arithmetic was brutal and everyone knew it. Republicans hold 53 Senate seats, but as we have said, Mitch McConnell has not been in that chamber since the middle of June, which leaves Majority Leader John Thune with a working majority of 52. Susan Collins of Maine announced Tuesday she's a no because
she's
just
always
because.
a no.
Yeah,
Anything
it's always
important,
yeah.
she's a no.
Yeah, Susan Collins, always a no, can't depend on her. And then, of course, all 45 Democrats are, and both independents were expected against, including notably John Fetterman, who has crossed over for this president's nominees before and was not prepared to this time. That left 2 Republicans undecided, or at least uncommitted. I guess that's the best way to put it. And Todd Blanche could not lose both. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, which would have been like 1 in the morning for her, posted on X that she's voting no.
As expected.
Yeah, the country needs an attorney general who will check the worst impulses of this administration. I hope Mr. Blanche is able to achieve that if confirmed, but I simply do not have confidence that will be the case. I would then say, why did you support Merrick Garland? He wasn't going to check Joe Biden because he was in charge. You can't convince me otherwise. That left Bill Cassidy of Louisiana holding.
Where was she at on Eric Holder? Sorry to interrupt, but where was she at on the Eric Holder vote? I'm sure she voted. I'm going to check.
Susan Collins both voted for her.
Yeah, I'm going to check and see just to confirm.
Yeah. That left Bill Cassidy of Louisiana holding the entire nomination. And at 10:40 this morning, Cassidy walked onto the Senate floor and said this: all considered, I will vote for Mr. Blanche. I will be criticized for this vote. What's new? Now, we're recording before the floor vote actually happens. It sounds like it may actually happen tomorrow morning before everybody tries to get out of town. Thune hasn't scheduled it as of this morning, and reporting suggests it could actually slip to Saturday. So we'll tell you what we know and not what we're guessing at this point. Craig, 3 Republican senators publicly wrestled with an attorney general nominee from their own party, and one of them said out loud he'd take some heat for supporting him.
That doesn't even make sense.
And who cares? He's gone anyway. When's the last time a cabinet confirmation was this genuinely in doubt inside a president's own majority? And I'm going to throw mine out there. I think it goes all the way back to Robert Bork back in the 80s, to be honest with you.
But I just checked, and Murkowski and Collins both voted for AG. What's his name?
Eric Holder.
And he passed 75-21.
Right.
And he said again and again, I'm his boy, I'm his bud, I'm everything that you could say, that they're accusing Todd Blanche of saying that's never said it.
Yeah.
I mean, I meant to look for the video of Eric Holder saying that so we could use it one time, but I don't understand how they can vote for Eric Holder. And anything Trump tries to do, Murkowski and Collins cannot be counted on.
No.
Vote for it, regardless.
And Merrick Garland's the exact same way. Let's just be honest with you.
He's
Merrick Garland was going to do whatever Joe Biden said.
Yep.
Merrick Garland put little old ladies in prison. For praying in America, and sent these 70-year-old women to prison. It's disgusting. And the fact that you could support him, but you can't hold your nose enough to vote for Todd Blanche is gross. I mean, it is what it is, but
yeah.
We'll have to go from there.
I'm sorry. He said, he says he's Obama's wingman. Yeah. That's even worse.
Yeah. Which means he's going to do whatever he can.
He's going to do whatever he wants.
Yeah. Let's read Cassidy's yes carefully here because it's not an endorsement. He said he's worked hard to understand the issue and make the right decision. He said he remains concerned about episodes of apparent lawfare. Again,
where was he at?
Where were you all when Merrick Garland was doing it? Where were you when Eric Holder was doing it? Now you're going to take a stand. Now you're going to take a stand about lawfare.
What a man! What a man!
Yeah, just such bravery and guts from the right. At this point.
When he's not running for re-election.
Yeah. He said he was troubled by Blanche's judgment in exempting the president from IRS audits. That's not what happened.
No.
The same settlement Cornyn and Tillis spent 2 weeks fighting over, and he said he was particularly troubled by the Justice Department bringing suits against the president's perceived enemies. That's a senator listing the case against the nominee and then voting for him anyway. And 2 days ago on SiriusXM, Cassidy laid out the test he was applying. And it's the sharpest formulation anyone has given this whole fight. His words, I've got to be convinced that he is an attorney general who just happens to have once been President Trump's personal attorney, as opposed to President Trump's personal attorney, who is now the attorney general. Who gives a flip?
Right.
I don't understand what that matters a hill of beans at this point.
And the guy has proven that he is getting things done. He is getting criminals out of this country.
Yeah. Well, and Lisa Murkowski, she reached the opposite conclusion, citing what she described as accelerating weaponization of the department under Blanche's leadership. Now do
Right.
Merrick Garland.
It's only because of Trump. And I sent her a tweet.
Yeah.
So why don't you just go on and switch to Democrat? You vote against every important issue the Republican Party wants.
Yeah.
They can't count on you for
people
nothing.
will say, well, at least she stands up to her party. No, she's not part of the party. She doesn't agree with the fundamental principles of this party. She votes with Democrats. The only reason she lists an R after her name is because she likes to be reelected. And Alaska is traditionally a Republican state.
Very conservative state. Everybody owns a gun. Everybody bear hunts, all that
She
stuff.
believes that she has to be an R to continue to win that seat. She's lying to you, you good people of Alaska. She's not a Republican. For anybody who says she's standing on morals, she's not. She's standing on the same principle she's always had, which is that she is a rhino, a Republican in name only, and she is nothing near what a principled individual of the Republican Party is, because she doesn't hold those principles.
Right.
She never has. It's just a waste of everyone's time. And now the detail from CNN's reporting that we think deserves a lot more attention than it's getting. Earlier this month, Todd Blanche spent 2 days in Alaska while the acting Attorney General of the United States was there, and after the Justice Department dropped 2 Biden-era lawsuits concerning Alaska's oil and gas production. It settled 2 other outstanding lawsuits in that state, and it awarded millions of dollars in grants to Alaskan local law enforcement. Lisa Murkowski voted no anyway.
Yeah.
That means she does not care about the people of Alaska. Period.
She supported Biden shutting down all the oil fields up there, every environmental cause that came along.
Yep.
Trump, 45 and 47, has been opening up oil fields. The residents of Alaska are making a ton of money, and she votes against it. I cannot figure out. The people of Alaska need to wake up.
They really do. They really do. And at this point, she has to be, if she even decides to run again, but if she does, she has to be primaried. Her and Susan Collins, we talk about the fact that, well, Susan Collins is going to win Maine, very likely. Doesn't matter.
Nope. I don't care if Floyd Jackson wins or not.
Right. At this point, the most important of any of those races is Michigan. And it's just, it's lunacy dealing with these 2 members of the Senate. CNN reports that her announcement deeply frustrated officials inside the Justice Department who had spent significant time, months, on what turned out to be a futile effort to win her over. We want to be careful about what we're asserting here because we don't know what was said in any room. Dropping litigation and awarding law enforcement grants are things the Justice Department does regularly. But the sequence, a nominee visits a wavering senator's state, and the department he runs then resolves that state's cases in that state's favors and cuts checks to that state's police, is a sequence any reasonable person is entitled to notice. And the most interesting fact about it is the ending. She said no anyway.
Yep.
So at this point, Alaska should be very glad with what they got. They probably will not get any other benefits, at least from this administration. I don't know why you would.
Well, it's just the oil. We got, we want the oil flowing.
Yep.
And hopefully, he'll smack her hand on something big that she wants. I'm sure he will. I mean, I would if I was president.
Yeah.
But then when Alberta votes on October 7th, I think is when it is on the referendum to have the vote the next year to become their own country, Alaska is going to lose importance.
Well, and Dan Stevens is up for re-election in the Senate. He has a lead. It's almost certain that he will win. I think that's a pretty fair certainty. Yep. It's more than lean Republican at this point. But people of Alaska, if you don't get it together with regard, if you elect the progressive candidate and then allow Lisa Murkowski to remain, you all are in a world of trouble because you are no friend of this administration, and they do not care. They are rhinos. You'll have a rhino and you'll have a progressive, which you might as well have 2 Democrats at that point.
I mean, they got 737,000 people in the state that if you laid it on the continental United States, it's 25%.
Yeah.
as large as the whole country, continental United States, and they just might get shut out.
Yeah.
It's time to teach her a lesson.
Yeah, it's pitiful. Pitiful. And again, stand on your principles. And if she had stood up to Merrick Garland and stood up to Eric Holder and then stood on her principles now and said, I'm going to vote the exact same way I voted before, you and I would be the first person to say, good for you, Lisa Murkowski. Good for you. Standing on your laurels and your principles. But you didn't do that the last two major times that it needed to happen. And you voted for those guys who were clearly engaged in lawfare. We can see it in the past.
I don't think Murkowski has voted on this term 47 anything that supports any King Trump, and Collins has only done it once.
Orange man bad.
I just don't understand it.
Well,
but they'll give a Nazi 77% of the votes.
Yeah.
They'll give a guy that throws water bottles and telephones at female staff in the legislature. They'll pick him to replace the guy that the Nazi.
Yeah.
I mean, good
boy. It's really interesting that you mentioned that. I have not heard progressives or those on the left calling anyone a Nazi in the last month. That's really weird.
Well, we were called that.
I wonder why too. When you start nominating people with SS tattoos on them,
it's like Bernie Sanders used to be millionaires and billionaires.
It's just billionaires and trillionaires now because he's one of them.
Because he's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Well, when it was discovered, he was a millionaire before.
Of course,
he's he's 3 homes worth $3 or $4 million. Let's see. Thune is not a majority leader. He'll be backbenched. Well, of course he would.
Yeah.
He needs to go too.
And he knows that when they win the Senate, he is not going to remain as Senate leader. I do not believe
I hope not.
Well, because yesterday a Senate committee voted to hold Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress and sent the referral straight to the Justice Department that Todd Blanche is about to run. This is an important story. Thursday morning, the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee voted 8-7 along straight party lines to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress. All 8 Republicans in favor, all 7 Democrats against. 5
Democrats, 2 independents.
Yeah, well, and 2 more.
Just to be specific.
Yeah, there were only 5 in the room, 2 more by proxy. This follows the hearing we covered on July 29th when Fauci appeared under subpoena and invoked his Fifth Amendment right 111 times over roughly 3 hours. I would get tiring to say. Chairman Rand Paul.
Your carpet, Kyle?
What's that?
What color is your carpet?
Well, it's hardwood flooring in here.
Oh, what color is your hardwood floor?
Yeah, brown. But I can't say that out loud because I'm going to plead the Fifth.
Yeah.
This follows that hearing that we talked about. Chairman Rand Paul framed the vote narrowly. Someone who is very much on the outside of, I would say, establishment Republicans at this point.
Libertarian.
Very libertarian, but he has been brought back into the fold over the last couple of weeks. Chairman Rand Paul framed the vote narrowly, and to his credit, he stayed on that frame. His words before the vote, the chair directed Anthony Fauci to answer. He refused. That is not what we are voting on today. Not his opinions, not his policies, not anything he said from the podium 6 years ago. And then the core of his argument was this: we are voting on whether a witness who has received the benefit of a sweeping federal pardon can be ordered by this committee to answer questions.
And you think it'll make it to the Supreme Court?
And then defy that order without consequence. Paul also said the committee had only one question in front of it: whether to hold a witness responsible for his contempt toward Congress. The witness, he said, had many chances to answer, and he made his decision 111 times. Democrats moved repeatedly to table the resolution or postpone it. Every single motion failed. 8-7. The Republican majority blocked every attempt. In fact, he finally had to tell Gary Peters to shut up.
Yeah, because he'd come back with his third one.
Yeah, so the vote could actually go through, and told him to quit interrupting the chair. Good for Rand Paul. I think he's probably lobbying some to keep a chair position if the Senate wins.
Peters is out too. He's not running again.
No, Peters, and that's the whole issue with
they're brave when they're not running.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff. Craig, Paul, we won't harp on this too much, but it is important that we talk about what happens here. Paul kept this narrow, and I think that's the strongest version of his case, is that we're not going to get into the weeds on all the things that we think he did wrong. It's just, did you receive a pardon? And then did you not answer the questions we have after you had received a pardon? This isn't about gain of function. It's not for all of those who are out here watching. And you're like, why are we still talking about this? The things we're talking about right now, it's not about gain of function. It's not about lockdowns. It's about whether a committee order means anything anymore.
Right.
Does that framing hold up, or is the narrow question that a cleaner way into a fight he's wanted for 5 years? But before I get you to answer that, let me say this. Let me ask you this. Had let's say if Dr. Oz had gone into a Democrat-controlled committee just like this was, and Dr. Oz took the fifth 111 times, would Democrats unanimously vote to hold him in contempt of Congress?
Of course they would. And
of course they
the
would.
ones pushing it the most would be the media. Media didn't cover that hearing that much, but it would. And so no, there's no point in it. It's our country's so divided. It doesn't matter what Republicans do or Democrats want to do. It's going to be party line vote every time. And then if they do the fifth, if Fauci gets doesn't get charged with anything after the pardon, he does the fifth, then every person that ever comes before a congressional committee will just plead the fifth.
They're never gonna answer a question.
I'll testify. Just say, well, I'll take the fifth. Be done with it.
Yeah.
Thanks for
tell
the
them ahead
free
of time. Quit wasting everybody's time.
Thanks for the free trip to D.C. Well, I got to see everything.
Yeah. There is a part of this, because we try to be fair on this show. This is Fauci's side of things, and we're going to give you the other side in full because we've been on this story for 2 weeks, and it would be cheap to stop now. Fauci's attorney, David Schertler, the same attorney that Rand Paul had removed from that hearing by security.
Gold Bar Bob's attorney.
Yeah. Yep. Gold Bar Bob issued a statement Thursday. His words: today's partisan committee vote is a crude political stunt intended to punish Dr. Fauci for exercising his constitutional rights. He called the resolution a continuation of Senator Paul's personal vendetta against a man who spent 50 years in public health. And you know what? Maybe it is. But the fact that Dr. Anthony Fauci sat in a Senate committee hearing 250 times and multiple times looked at another medical doctor and said, "You don't know what you're talking about," when multiple people were saying exactly what Rand Paul was saying and about the fearing cleavage site and the other gain of function things, essentially changing definitions on the spot. And now you learn everything he said was a lie, that he was lying to everyone. His diary says that. Apparently,
that's what hung him out to dry, is that diary.
Yeah.
Everything the diary he said before is not truthful.
Apparently, his government phone information is going to be dropped at some point in the next week or so.
That will be gold.
Yeah. But at the same time, it just further divides this country, because had that been a Republican or a conservative-leaning doctor, the Democrats would have used a Justice Department to use lawfare against this individual, ruined his life, definitely put him in prison. 100% he'd be in prison right now. And that's the part that I can't get over. All the people online saying, you're just trying to ruin a good man. The same thing Democrats would do if they were in the exact same position.
Well, if you're playing sports, you're beating the crap out of somebody, they keep mouthing at you, you go, look at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
This is the same thing, except you say, look at the diary. Look at his own words. He hung himself out to dry.
But the craziest part about it is you say that now, you're like, he said it. And the first thing is, why are we still talking about this? That was 5 years ago. Because you ruined people's lives.
Why are we talking about January 6th, 6 years ago?
Right.
So
you absolutely ruined people's lives.
He's a jerk.
And they don't care. He got rich off of it while other people lost their lives.
If his phone has anything close to what's on his diary, the text messages and stuff, he might go to jail then. But they'll get him for contempt of Congress, maybe. But if he does, he won't serve no time in jail. He'll get a fine.
Yeah.
He's worth $12 million.
Take his book money for all I care.
Yeah, he became a millionaire because of coronavirus.
I mean, that's what they're going to do with John Bolton. I mean, John Bolton's going to lose all of his book deal money.
Yeah,
but keep his freedom, and it'll probably be something similar to that.
Yeah, hit Fauci for a couple $1 and move on. Let him go out to pasture.
Well, let's talk about let's follow the paper here. That referral is now sitting at the United States Department of Justice, and by the end of the weekend, if the floor vote goes the way this morning suggests, that department will be run by Todd Blanche, which means the decision about whether to prosecute Anthony Fauci for contempt of Congress will be made by an attorney general, confirmed by 1 or 2 votes over the objection of 3 members of his own party, one of whom said out loud that the country needs someone who will check the worst impulses of this administration. This isn't a worst impulse of Donald Trump. This is not.
And the decision will not be made by Blanche.
Yeah.
It will be made by career DOJ employees, because the Democrats love saying career DOJ does this, that, and the other. They'll advise the attorney general on what to do. It won't be him just, taking a bite of a ham sandwich and go, I'm going to get Fauci today.
Yeah,
he'll have supporting evidence from career DOJ people.
Yeah. What's up, Alvy? We see you in here. If Andy Bashir was president, he would borrow Biden's auto pen and let the swamp run the country. He stays right in line with the party. I can't disagree with that.
I hear he's going to Michigan. I hear Andy is going to Michigan.
Is he going
to support of El Said?
Yeah. Well,
I'm waiting to see if that's true.
That is a lot what you need to know about Andy Bashir right there.
I might have to pull back my prognostication on Bashir if he goes support El Said.
Well, history says the identity of the decider of this whole thing will make a difference. In 2013, IRS official Lois Lerner read an opening statement and then refused to answer questions. Legally, almost exactly what Fauci did. The House voted to hold her in contempt. That was a House committee at that time.
Right.
The Justice Department under President Obama declined to prosecute because who appointed her? President Obama.
Oh yeah, I didn't know you wanted me to answer.
No, and nothing happened to her, of course. But then you have Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro were held in contempt under a different administration, prosecuted, convicted, served time in federal prison.
Yep, they go to the poker.
Same statutes, same conduct, more or less.
So who weaponized the DOJ, Kyle?
Well, it wasn't Donald Trump that put those men in jail.
Right.
I'll tell you that much. That would be Merrick Garland and Joe Biden.
Yep.
But Republicans are accused of weaponizing the DOJ.
And think if Merrick Garland was on the Supreme Court.
We dodged a bullet there, didn't we?
You ain't kidding. God almighty.
Not a very intelligent man.
Let's move on, Hill. I'm tired of talking about that.
Yeah, I agree.
God.
Well, let's go into the next story today, which is another one that seems to be dragging on forever, and it's a little frustrating as well. On Tuesday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said an agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz with freedom of movement for commercial vessels could come as soon as Wednesday. It has not come yet. The president said a lot of progress had been made, and that Iran had called and asked to talk. Secretary of State Rubio confirmed the United States was involved in negotiations between Oman and Iran. Oil markets moved hard on it. Brent crude fell more than 6% Tuesday, below $79 a barrel. It is now Friday evening. There is no deal. What there is real progress on one piece. On Thursday, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, same guy that I'm never going to even get his name right, so I'm not going to try, said through Iranian state media, so he's lying, that Iran and Oman had agreed on the coordinates for a navigation route through the strait and were working on a joint statement. That's genuine. The two countries have apparently.
And what happens if they go outside those coordinates?
Right. Are you going to fire on them? Are you going to fire on them?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. Then here's the other aspect of this, and I'll just skip right to the point here.
Yeah.
If the Trump administration has to compromise and allow 2 other countries to determine where these ships can go or they get fired upon, and they are allowed to charge a toll for all these to go through, this whole thing was a waste.
Right. Well,
this whole thing was a waste.
And looking on for Iran's favor, the media here in the country and the Democrats, they want to tie Trump's hands so that nothing happens. So Iran says, well, we'll just wait it out because the public opinion in America is just going to keep getting worse and worse. And the Democrats aren't going to vote to help anybody out. So we'll just ride it out because they've been there for 4,000 years. What's a few more weeks or even the 2 years?
Well, and it's fine that they
we are not going to win another damn war because we cannot get together to win anything.
No, and the problem is it's great if they say you have to go in the Iranian side inbound and outbound through Omani waters, but it doesn't fix any of the issues. Now, I will say markets have reacted very well on the good
Yep.
news. It has been a record week with regard to the stock market. For a lot of you, the only thing the stock market affects is your retirement plan and things like that, but it affects everything else that touches you, including how much your gas prices are going to be, how much you're paying at the store for things, all of those things. And so the stock market has reacted accordingly, and that's good. We'd like there to be some resolution on the fact that there is no tariff, because if Democrats,
Well, here, let's look at a graphic.
yep, oh yeah,
See how high it is? That's
yep.
this week.
Yeah,
That's
it's
gone up
never
from-
been that high. I mean,
Yeah,
we are
you're
in a
correct.
record-breaking
Yeah.
week right now. Craig, the administration said Wednesday, and it's Friday now. Markets are down a little bit.
It's up 151 right now.
Yeah,
Right
which
this second.
which is that for the week?
No, I'm talking about for today. And
Okay.
for the week, we had a high of 54,349, and we're at 54,036. So it's down 300.
Yeah.
From the high of the week, not
Yeah.
the. Let me pull up just a week, because that's 3 months worth of data. But keep going, and we'll get
I will say that markets are
here's a week,
okay. So it's down. We're down
just a tad.
just a tad from the records. What happens though if
400 points.
Okay, what happens if next week comes and goes the exact same way though? Are markets going to continue to do this rebound thing where, we get good news and at some point you're just going to be in analysis paralysis?
Yeah, we need to get John Hibbert on here and ask him about this, because I don't know. They always got one reason why the stock market goes down and 3 or 4 reasons why it goes up. So I've never figured out, never tried to figure out what one event will drive all the stock market to go down. I never believe that. It can't be one event. It's got to be business stuff.
Well, it does. I mean, obviously, if there's a tragedy, 9/11, something like that,
Right. That's
that would
legit.
drive
Yeah.
it. I think the other problem is this: is that one of the things that you haven't been told is about this. There's a couple things that are going on in the Middle East as well. Saudi Arabia, who now believes that they are within the crosshairs of Iran, signed a regional defense pact with Turkey, who is not the most stable government, especially in army wise. They just had to try to overthrow the government just a few years ago. So that with the military, so take that for what it's worth. And Pakistan, who is a nuclear power, and they all agreed to a NATO-style defense pact during this regional turmoil. Immediately after that, Iran then said Saudi Arabia is not safe just because you signed this agreement with Turkey and Pakistan. Now we're getting to something where we're looking at a regional campaign where now we're spreading outside of the region. Pakistan, while you may think that it's right there in the Middle East, we're now moving further into Asia and Russia and that area. Turkey is on the doorstep of Europe at this point, and now we're looking at global conflict at this point. The Trump administration has to come up with a plan to either end this war or contain what's happening in Iran. Would you agree?
Yeah, and Pakistan and Iran they share a border, if I remember right.
Yep.
And of course they do with Turkey also. So, in Pakistan being all nuked up, and Turkey's got crazy military, them guys fight to win regardless.
I think that the one thing we have to keep an eye on, I agree, Alvi, you never know what happens on a Friday afternoon. We have to see what India does. India and Pakistan are, rivals for an entire century.
But India's not involved in this one
yet.
Well, India does. They have been buying oil from Iran at a discounted price. That's correct.
And if Pakistan's on one side, India, who is an ally of us, if they hop on the other side, we might have some issues. Now,
Prime Minister Modi better decide what he's going to do, because Saudi Arabia's got a ton of oil, and Pakistan and Turkey's militaries, they're not scared of nothing.
No. And the other thing that happened today was that there was a vote to deal the sanctions on Russia, and this absolutely affects. This is the Lindsey Graham
100%.
Act. This affects what's happening in the Middle East because there have to be the sanctions are if you work with Iran or any of these other groups that are promoting terrorism, and if you're fighting against a sovereign nation like Ukraine, then we are going to impose heavy tariffs on you.
Up to 100%.
Up to 100%. That means that if you're working with Iran or working with Russia, that there will be a tariff on you. Sounds very reasonable, right? Sounds incredibly reasonable.
To a normal person, because I know where you're going.
These are the people who voted against it. Now, I just said all those glowing things about Rand Paul. Rand Paul doesn't agree with tariffs at all. He doesn't want to give the tariff
and he
power
said it from day one, so he's honoring his commitment.
That's right. It's one thing you can never fault the man for. He's going to do what he says he's going to do. And as a Kentuckian, we do appreciate that to an extent. But then you have Rochester from Delaware, Hassan from New Hampshire, Hirono, who is
against everything.
She's against everything, but she doesn't understand anything. If you ever watch any of her committee,
her first question, what is it? Have you committed rape or something?
Like that? Just crazy.
Every person she questions.
Yeah. Ed Markey from Massachusetts, John
An
Ossoff,
avowed liberal, probably a Democrat socialist that he's hip to hip with AOC.
John Ossoff, who apparently has presidential aspirations as well, out of Georgia. Alex Padilla,
another Trump hater.
Yep. Elizabeth Warren,
another Trump hater.
Pocahontas, as we like to call her. Peter Welch from Vermont.
No, I don't know that fella. And Ron Wyden, another
Ron
Trump
Wyden.
hater.
These are the people. These are the senators who voted against sanctioning Russia. Now, these are the same people who have Ukrainian flags on their profile pictures and will tell you how supportive they are of the Ukrainian people. But when it comes to economic hardships that we want to put on their enemy, nah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, let's explain it for just a second. When countries buy oil or natural gas, which Russia has maybe the second most of both on the planet, it funds their war against Ukraine.
100%.
When Europe started, when Ukraine started, Russia started the Ukraine war, Europe was still buying oil and natural gas from Russia, and they were selling weapons or giving weapons to Ukraine. So they're playing both sides. Then finally, Trump got Europe to stop buying Russian energy, and that cut them back a little bit. Now this will maybe 80% defund Putin's war machine because they won't have no money to buy no weapons. We've got Iran all tied up. North Korea is done. They're tired of sacrificing their soldiers. All they got left potentially is China. And I don't think China's going to get in on this with Russia against Ukraine.
No, they'd rather have the other front against us on their own if they want to.
Yeah. So this is big. I
will say this to my Democrat and liberal brethren. Bernie Sanders, Moscow Bernie, who actually had his honeymoon in Moscow, in Russia, who has ties to socialist and Marxist ideals. If you believe he supports Ukraine and that he has the best interest of Ukraine, while you all have your Ukrainian flag in your profile, you are sorely mistaken.
Yep.
He is a communist. He believes in the Communist Manifesto. He believes everything that Karl Marx did. He does not care about whether Ukraine wins this war. And in fact, he would probably be happier if Russia goes ahead and clears the field. If ever there was a politician that you could say was a puppet for Putin, it ain't Donald Trump.
Right, it's
Bernie Sanders.
And who's Bernie Sanders the godfather of? The Democrat Socialists of America.
Yep.
That are knocking off Democrats right and left.
You are being duped into thinking that you are doing the right thing internationally when all you are doing is falling to their lies.
Yeah, they're supporting a country that invaded a sovereign country, and there's 30 to 35,000 human beings
killing hundreds of thousands of people
on every month. Because
Ukraine ain't the Marxists.
And I'm telling you, if we armed Ukraine with the longer range missiles, they could take over Russia because all you got to do is take over Moscow, and you got.
They don't have any military aged men anymore.
Yeah, well, they've all been killed. They don't
Speaking
have
of
no
which,
prisoners. They're
no,
grabbing young men off the street
yeah,
to put them on the front. And what'd you say the timeline was for survival of a Russian soldier on the front?
between 48 and 72 hours.
Yeah, I mean, God mighty. So
I mean,
I'm all for Ukraine taking over Russia because Russia and Ukraine used to be together.
I mean, the only problem with that is that, you know, I believe Ukraine and Zelensky are probably the most corrupt nation out there. I mean, they haven't had, for those of you who are big Ukrainian fans, they haven't had a fair election in almost, 8 years now?
Yeah. And
So,
before the war, Ukraine was labeled the most corrupt country on planet Earth.
That's correct.
Before the war.
Yeah.
So
one other thing that we heard this week, interestingly enough, was that, and I don't know if you heard this or not, there are rumors out there, and I'll tell you that this came from White House insiders, that Vladimir Putin, you may remember about a month ago when they had their annual Victory Day parade where they do all their, and they didn't have any military stuff.
Right, they didn't have no munitions.
They didn't have any munitions to show off like they always have for decades. That Vladimir Putin reached out to the White House and asked the White House to reach out to Zelensky to ask them not to bomb during the Victory Day parade. And I thought, that means you've lost all power. If you truly believe you're at risk of that, I will say that by the end of the year, I believe the people of Russia will revolt again. That is a revolting country. They revolt all the time. There's revolutions. I believe that you will see another, and I believe you're.
Right. Nobody can get near him. Nobody can get near him though.
Yeah,
you can't get within 100 feet of him. If you watch him, he's got guys surrounding him, and there's nobody near him.
I think he's going to lose the military. I think he'll lose the military. And then
maybe they can do. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Somebody walk up and do that Russian poison thing. It just penetrates your skin. And you're dead in a week.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Let's go to one of our side topics because it's important for who we are and what we deal with here. First one is has Kentucky's name on it because an empty chair in this state decided a cabinet confirmation this week. It's a quick one, but it matters more than it looks. Every bit of arithmetic in tonight's first story ran through an empty seat with Kentucky's name on it. Republicans hold 53 Senate seats. John Thune has been operating with 52 because Senator Mitch McConnell has not been in that chamber since June 14th. When he fell, according to him and his reps, he fell at his Washington residence.
But not the official medical run.
And was found unconscious. He was hospitalized, spent time in a rehabilitation center, and later disclosed that he also had pneumonia. On Thursday, his office said he has been discharged from the hospital. They gave no date for his return to the Senate. Here's what that absence did this week. With McConnell there, Todd Blanche could have lost Collins and Murkowski and still been confirmed comfortably. Without him, Bill Cassidy became the single deciding vote on the Attorney General of the United States, which is why the Justice Department spent all those significant efforts on Alaska, and why one senator from Louisiana held a cabinet department in his hands this morning, essentially. We covered Governor Beshear's letter on Monday, the one demanding McConnell provide proof of his capacity to serve or resign. We had a real problem with how that was done, and we said so, and we're always going to say so. We have fewer problems with the underlying question tonight than we did on Monday, and here's why. This week, Kentucky's missing vote wasn't a hypothetical about a Senate seat. It changed, potentially, an outcome. I'll also say this. Mitch McConnell was released this week, but says he's not able to.
Where's the pictures?
Yeah, and released a statement.
Where's the video?
Apparently, he's at his Washington home, but nobody saw him go into his home, come out of his home.
Did he roll out at 3 o'clock? Did he roll out at 3 o'clock in the morning?
They would have seen it. They would have seen that. There's people outside there. They've
got to be posted out there, waiting on McConnell to exit the building.
Well, it's interesting.
Where's he at?
It's interesting though, and I think something happened today that there was a vote on the farm bill, and there was a tie. There was a tie on amendment votes and because of a proxy vote, which you're allowed to do if you give it to another member of Congress, another member of your chamber, say the Senate where he is from, people can make that vote for you.
They did against Fauci.
However, if he's able to make a decision about the farm bill, could he have made a decision which is pretty big deal about the AG. If you're out of the rehab facility, if you don't feel like coming in for a full day's work, that's one thing. But if you're not in a rehab facility and you're not in a hospital, then what is preventing you from going to the House to vote? Now, he has voted now, so he's broken that
proxy vote, but he could have signed his proxy vote.
He absolutely could.
He could have been doing that for a month.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess. I don't know any way to put it. I don't have any information whether he's alive or not. Now, based upon his communications director not making any comments other than these blanket statements, why he hasn't appeared, on a video chat with somebody, why they have no video of this guy, why they're sending out AI created photos, not even good ones, by the way. It just begs the question, what are we doing? What is going on with these guys? It could easily be fixed. And if it's not easily fixed, then you don't have to have a tinfoil hat like you and I do all the time to start asking questions of what the hell is going on in the U.S. Senate.
But all anybody wants to see is a photo of McConnell alive. That's it. That will change so much things. But McConnell recently, he's been against Trump too. But again, it's because he's not running, but he's Mr. Republican. If you look up Republican in the dictionary for the United States, it's Mitch McConnell.
Yep.
Something has changed with McConnell to start voting against Trump.
It's Trump.
I mean, well,
Trump is not a old school, neocon,
right.
In one of these.
He's not a deep state Republican.
Deep state guy. I mean, he's been there 42 years now. Been there 42 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, there comes a point where you're too into it. Listen, if somebody wanted to run, if McConnell had decided to run again, which we all thought he might, if he had decided to run again, he should be primaried.
He would have been primaried
in Kentucky, and he probably would still win. I don't know why or how, but he probably would still win, and that's the sad part about it.
Yeah,
that is the depressing aspect of our show tonight. Let's talk a little sports where it's a lot more exciting.
Let's go. Yeah, this will be a lot more fun. A lot of fun.
Okay, let's go.
So Keyshawn Hall, someone we had said last night that it sounded like through Trilly Donovan, who is a very famous burner account, usually an insider. For anybody, I was reading some ex posts. Trilly never knows anything about Kentucky. Yeah, he does. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, he does. That's why I sent it to you.
Yeah, because he's a basketball insider. I don't know. Yeah. And there's all sorts of people
rumors to
who he is, but nobody's ever been able to prove it. But Keyshawn Hall, who would be looking for his fifth team in 5 years, posted two photos back to back. One of him playing against Kentucky and one of him playing against St. John's. No comments. No, I mean, he didn't make any other payment. It's just one of those things, it's weird. There's no caption that resolves anything. And that is a man telling the internet he's down to two schools, we think, without saying a word.
Common sense, yeah.
But if the University of Kentucky has already truly moved on and is focusing on Mark Mitchell or Jackson Kohler, it's likely that this is an ill-fated attempt to show, because this is what happens with every single potential.
Did you see where his dad was engaging with Tennessee fans?
Yeah.
When they were saying he wouldn't come to Kentucky and all this stuff, and he said, hold on, wait. He was going back and forth with Tennessee fans about Hall, about his son coming to Kentucky. That made me think good. And then when I saw UK, I saw Trilly Donovan said that UK was not interested. I sent that to you. I said, man, there's no way, after what his dad was posting on X.
It's interesting. And again, this is with the backdrop of we have literally no idea what is going to end up happening with these kids, right? Everybody is essentially in sports ball purgatory.
Yep.
I don't know any other way to put it. Essentially, we believe that schools are operating under the idea that a a transfer portal has opened and closes on Monday. That's what everybody's operating by.
Well, 3 days.
But there's no guarantee that that's actually happening. In fact, he probably is hoping for a bidding war.
Against who? I don't even know
like
that St. John's has a player. I mean, has a spot.
They do. St. John's, and they have been showing interest. But once again, we're in that Mark Pope, Rick Pitino thing. We can't get caught up in that, especially if the insiders are saying Kentucky's already moved on from that discussion. So it's not a whiff if they have voluntarily moved on to Jackson Kohler or Mark Mitchell. And we don't know that. Nobody knows anything, and we're flying blind here. All three.
Well, the speculation part is fun.
It is. But all three would be an improvement to the roster. At least two of them would start automatically. And the only reason I don't know if Kohler would start automatically is just because of the point production that we may already have with our team. But he's the captain of Michigan State. He's going to bring leadership if he doesn't bring 20 points a game. I mean, that is invaluable to a team that already has.
It was all over X last night that it's down to Kentucky and somebody else, that he's not going back to Michigan State.
Yeah, BYU is the other one that's out there from what we hear. Kansas was involved, but I don't think that's a real thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't play on, because of Tyrone Stokes, I wouldn't play on Kansas for nothing.
No, it's going to be a mess, and I think that's the thing that. But let's say you sign one of these kids, right? Let's say you work out a contract, everything else. There's going to be guaranteed money associated with that contract because they don't know what's happening, and it's going to say, if I'm not allowed to play, you still have to pay me because I withdrew from playing in the NBA, summer league or whatever they want to come up and say, or the European League or whatever else. And we may not know. We may not know into September if whoever we end up signing for this 15th spot, if they're allowed to play.
Only 23 days away.
Yeah. Now I will say this. I think that the NCAA will continue to fight this. I think there will be a decision, an expedited decision from a court of appeals that may kind of
NCAA is going to lose on this if they
and I said they were going to.
If they cave the NIL, this is nothing compared to NIL.
And I don't know what the impetus is to stop this. The kids are making $20 million, on these rosters, and you give a damn about these guys getting a fifth year? What does it matter?
Who cares? Why even waste your time?
You are wasting so many time and resources. The NCAA's already lost their everything that they had.
Yeah, they've got no respect and
no credibility.
It won't be long before the football conferences form their own thing and say the heck with the NCAA.
The SEC and Big Ten, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, they're already behind the scenes talking about that. If you could pull in those 30 plus teams and add maybe 8 or 9 more teams, including the Notre Dames or whatever, and you've got 40 plus teams in this league.
I mean, they'll compete against the NFL for TV money.
Which is the same size as the NFL. People say, well, there's not enough teams. The NFL has enough teams. That's what you want, is competition every week, right?
And they'll compete with the NFL for TV money, multi-billion-dollar deals.
Absolutely, and
then you're not involved in college than they are in the NFL.
And it's interestingly enough, because some of the comments that have come out of some of those discussions are interesting, because they are saying things like, if the Big Ten and SEC break off, they're going to have the best competition. But the Big Ten and the SEC have already said, we're going back to academic rules. Like, you're going to have academic standards. We're not going to have this crazy NIL thing. Kids will make money. They'll be able to earn money. Yeah. But we're not talking $2, $3, $4, $5, $8 million a player anymore. They're gonna control that, and so you kind of have this powerhouse thing where they're going, "Hey, we're the ones where you want to compete, right? You don't want to go to Akron and play in the MAC and NCAA. You want to come here. It's going to be the marquee players. You're still going to get paid. And you're going to still make some money. You're just not going to make $8 million a year, and you're going to have academic standards. That's the only thing that's going to save college sports.
Well, the kids getting out of college with all these millions of dollars, it's just started, so we haven't seen the 5 years down the road yet. I'm curious how many are broke in 5 years, like a lottery winner.
Well, and what's going to happen? I mean, the same.
They have no financial skills at all.
No, they're 18-year-old kids.
Yeah,
I wouldn't give my kids when they were 18. I wouldn't give them $10 million.
Well, heck no.
Imagine. I mean, I don't. There's
Would you
very
give it
few
to me?
18-year-olds.
Would you give it to me?
I would give it to you, but you're a
Okay.
lot older than 18. I don't know.
Barely. I'm barely. That's not really gray. I'd color it gray.
Is it
Yeah.
just for men gray?
Yeah, that's what it is.
That would be an interesting thing. The other thing that I think will end up happening if Congress doesn't get involved, or if the SEC and Big Ten don't break off and start their own thing, is that you're going to have the same thing that you're going to end up having in Major League Baseball right now, which is essentially we are going into a work stoppage. I mean, there will be a strike next year. We know that it's going to be called the Dodger strike.
Yep.
The Dodgers have done this, and because of that, your average school, a team that a Morehead State will never compete against the University of Kentucky in an NCAA game in 5 years.
Or an Alabama or an Auburn or a Florida.
Or anybody in the big. I mean, it used to be. I mean, a lot of people.
And Ohio State.
Yeah, I got to get my Louisville dig in here. You may remember when Murray State and John Morant beat Louisville in the NCAA tournament, and that was a lot of fun. It's not going to be a thing anymore. John Morant would not have gone to Murray State if he was offered $5 million to go to Kentucky, right? It's just the way things are going to end up, and the rich are going to get richer, and the poor are going to get poorer. So they're going to separate those leagues out, unless there is something that comes from Congress or from these member institutions that says, put a cap on this, right? I mean, put 5, 10, whatever the number is, put a cap on it so that even mid-major schools could compete at some point.
When you're saying cap, you're saying a salary cap, like in
salary
the
cap. Salary
like
cap.
in the NBA, yeah.
Hard salary cap.
$20 million, and you divide it how you want and be done with it.
Yeah, I agree with this statement. I don't know if you saw that Harley Gilmore III was removed from the Kentucky.
Yeah, I did. I didn't read about it, but I saw it while I was out back.
Violation of team rules. Don't know anything more than that right now. What's that?
Not specified.
Not specified at this point. And he was removed immediately. Had not been on the practice roster for the last week, but it was you're a month out and you're losing one of your best receivers. Somebody we were actually very excited about him coming back another year. So that's unfortunate. Speaking of Kentucky basketball, they had an impromptu workout yesterday that was caught by anybody who was within earshot of when they announced it. They said that we're going to do this in an hour, and people essentially ran to get there. I think there were about 1,000 people there. And KSR had some highlights. One of the things I want you to see just from this right here is before we actually get into them scrimmaging, there's a lot of made three-pointers. There are a lot of made three-pointers. There's some misses in there, but these are big dudes who were hitting these as well.
Yeah, and I'll hold off till we get to the scrimmage, but
Malachi Moreno.
Something that KSR said yesterday, Ryan Lemon and one of the other guys went over there for about 20 minutes and watched some of the practice and then came back to the show.
Yeah, Drew did as well.
Yeah, and it's a pretty profound. I mean, it excited the heck out of me from what they said. But go ahead.
Yeah, getting into the scrimmage as well. I will say that there were some surprises. I know that's hard to believe, and I think that's the reality of it. Braden Hawthorne, who we have said we were anxious to see what happens. Reese Potter. I mean, to see these guys dunking the basketball, to see these guys competing out there against Malachi Moreno and some of these other guys, that was fun. We saw some Justin McBride. We saw Big Frank out there.
Wasn't Mason Williams the one of the stars of the event?
I'm telling you all right now, you need to get on this Mason Williams.
Yes, 100%
bandwagon.
He won the 3-point contest shooting thing for a week. He won.
Talking trash to the Kansas alumni during the TBT tournament.
Yep.
This dude is a dog, and he is a baller. And he's not going to be the biggest guy on the court ever, but he's going to have the biggest heart, I think. And that's the thing that, Zoom Diallo, I think one of the things that I noticed, Zoom Diallo and Alex Wilkins work really well together. They pass very well together. Zoom Diallo is big and fast. I mean, he earns that name. And so it's kind of interesting to see your point guard. It's a great block.
Look, watch him underneath. You see him underneath.
Yeah. Then, of course, you've got Momcilovic here.
There's the man.
Boy, this is fun to watch.
Yeah.
Your 3-point guy going in and taking inside shots.
He didn't miss a shot. He didn't miss a shot.
He did not.
The whole time Ryan Lemon was there.
Yeah. And then of course,
Look.
Trent, Reese Potter.
Yep. Noah's the one I'm most concerned with because I think he could be if he can get his shot off. We know he can shoot because those three guys in the 3-point week that Pope was tracking, they all shot over 80% from 3-point land, right?
Yep.
So if Noah can get his shot off faster,
there were lots of threes that were taken. There were lots of passes. Extra pass was made a lot yesterday. It got me excited. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
One of the things that we saw throughout the practice video was Malachi Moreno deciding that he's a 3-point shooter now.
Yeah.
And
he hit him.
So I mean that just by the way,
that was Reese Potter.
That was Reese Potter hitting one from
Yeah.
right in the middle. And then you've Alex Wilkins grabs the ball, throws it over to Momcilovic, and just
see how fast he gets rid of that ball.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt that you're 6'6" or 6'7" and you're able to, put that ball up as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
A lot of things to be excited about based upon the videos that we have seen. Craig, I football can't get here fast enough. Basketball can't get here fast enough. This Kentucky basketball team is going to be leaps and bounds better than the last two Mark Pope teams. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. I'm anxious because
football's going to be great.
Oh, football's. I don't want to shorten football excitement. Even if they're 6-6, it's going to be the most fun 6-6 team we ever had.
I don't care if they're 4-8.
Yeah, this is going to be a more fun team. I'm going to go ahead and say it, and this is hard for me to say. This football team this year will be more fun than the Tim Couch, Craig Yeast.
I hope if it is, then that's doing something.
Yeah, I am really excited about it. I don't like the fact that we lost, one of our best receivers at this point, but that's just something.
Yeah, Pope wants over 33 points a game, and Stein wants a lot of passing.
Yeah. One more thing before we go tonight. And this is one that we did not see coming, although it is the logical end to an illogical story that has been
gotten hot over the last day and a half.
It has. For those of you who don't know, about a week and a half ago, Sophie Cunningham, who is a forward center for the Indiana Fever, was asked by a reporter, how do you feel about, transgender folks playing in the WNBA? Her answer was nothing that you and I thought was very controversial.
Right.
I think a lot of people did think it was very controversial. Essentially, I stick up for girls to play in girls' leagues. I think
your girls are athletes.
That all my girls are athletes. I feel like women should play in women's sports. That's it. She has suffered severe backlash for that statement. In fact, going so far as to have multiple outlets going after her. In fact, last week, maybe in this last weekend, the coach for the Phoenix team, I believe, wore a shirt that said something about trans kids belong or something, which she's never said anything about, trans kids can't exist or anything like that. But somehow it became political. And then when they asked her about it afterwards, the coach couldn't really give any reason why, how that would affect the league. But then the next question,
before you go to that, one thing that I saw floating around this afternoon too on sports media is the WNBA a basketball league or an activist league?
Well, it's
something to pay attention to going forward.
It is, because I will tell them that regardless of whether all the people who are saying you can't tell us just to shut up and dribble, they don't have to tell you that. You can do whatever you want. But everyone who has become activists, they have lost popularity.
Yep.
And that's something you have absolutely every right to say whatever you want. We are totally here for your right to do it. You are not free from the consequences of it. And if I was the NBA, I would be very vocal about the fact that we are propping up your league with the money that we are providing to you
every year since it existed.
Every year since they've been in existence. And you are losing us money by doing this. Do what you want, but you are losing money. And when a work stoppage comes, we're not going to be real.
Because Indiana, the first 2 years they sold out every arena. The Indiana Fever, they sold out every game they played. This year they've only sold out 5. I think people are getting tired of all this, not basketball playing, but all this mouthing that they're doing outside. One, it's a fashion show. Every game they talk about their fashion, and then they talk about their activism, and then they go watch a game and they miss layups. They shoot 30 air balls a game. They can't play defense.
It's not a good product. I don't care what anybody says. If anybody says that it's a good product,
I watched the Fever play yesterday and went in overtime, and Caitlin Clark lost because she was over. I know at one point she was 0 for 6 from 3-pointers.
Yeah,
that loses the fans.
It does. People don't want to see that. After this happened, Sophie Cunningham was called for a defensive foul where she got hit in the jaw,
right? Which would have been an
elbow. Then they reviewed it, and then they said, no, it's just a common foul on Sophie Cunningham after they reviewed it. So, the officiating is just as bad as the ball playing.
Which would have been an automatic flagrant one, because
in any league besides the WNBA, and it had not been Sophie Cunningham.
She took a hard lick. Yeah. But even if it's a soft lick in the NBA, they call it a flagrant one automatic.
She has a martial arts background. She took it like a champ too. Yep. Didn't even phase her. But here's the other thing that I think is interesting, because after all of this has happened, after Sophie Cunningham went with this, there was all of a sudden the media then started asking the question to the athletes: would you support a transgender person or a biological male to play in the WNBA? And this was one of the answers, and I think it's worth watching.
I think it's trans rights right now is our new battle. That's what I think I was saying, that like the battles have changed. Oh, yes. Like our intentions have been the same, but now the environment has changed. We see trans people's rights being, stripped away from them. There's a lot of discourse around trans athletes and where they can compete in. I would welcome a trans athlete on my team or against my team.
Okay, you heard that. I would personally welcome.
She's a good player right there.
I would welcome any trans athlete on my team or to play against. That's the statement.
Anytime. I don't think it's a problem in the world. It's just another way to kind of attack trans people. We've seen players like Lasia Clarendon who stepped into that forefront and have been brave enough and courageous enough to kind of step up. So I guess that's the next battle that we have.
So that's the next battle.
Remember, she said that. Yeah, that's the activist part of the WNBA. Yeah.
So she made that comment. Clay Travis, earlier this week, after those comments were made, essentially said, I'll put my money where my mouth is then. He had originally, a year ago, offered $1 million to any WNBA team, including the champions, now is the Las Vegas Aces, if they would play any high school boys state champion of his choice, $1 million. Then he upped it this week. Yeah. He said, I'd give you $10 million to divide however you want it. Winner take all. $10 million.
Pay-per-view TV.
Pay-per-view TV, probably make his money back on it.
That's how he would pay. He does have the money. I looked up his net worth.
100% he does.
He does have the money, but man.
Out kicking those guys.
I don't buy pay-per-view, but I would buy that one.
Oh, and so would every other household in America because they want to see it. Now, the reason he did that, and for those of you who live in a world where you believe that this would not happen, it has happened 3 times with world-class soccer players. 14 and 15-year-old boys have annihilated the women's teams from Switzerland, from the United States, and from Australia, I think, have absolutely destroyed them. It hasn't even really been close. These are 14-year-old boys that have just gone through puberty, and they are annihilating grown women in a sport that is analogous to basketball in the sense that you're up and down the court. There's a lot of aerobic activity and
there's another stat that came out that a Joyner, I can't remember her Olympics, the female track star,
Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Yeah, her. She set the all-time record for women at 10.59 in the 100-meter dash. Not been broke since the 1980s. There were over 1,000 high school boys that broke that number just last year. And they won, and
it was actually Florence Joyner, who is similar but different. Florence Griffith Joyner, FloJo.
Yeah. Set the record in the 80s.
Yep. And in 1988 at the U.S. Olympic trials in Indianapolis, set the world record at 10.49. It's never been broken, has never even really gotten close.
Right. And yet 1,000 high school boys broke that time last year.
Last year.
And
in fact, Franklin County had a kid that did it many, many times just here in local little Frankfort.
And then the Olympic men, they're crashing 9.8 just to make the team. But
and my favorite argument is when people say, "Well, 10.49 and 9.8, that's really, really close." No, it's not. It's like not close at
20
all.
feet because they're moving at 25 miles an hour.
It's not close at all.
Yeah. Here's something real quick.
You're absolutely right.
You'll never see the WNBA want profit shrink. Well, you got to have profit first before you can share it. If you ain't got it, you can't share it, and they ain't got it.
Well, we tell you all of that information because late this afternoon, the logical conclusion to this nonsense has reared its ugly head, and I don't think that the WNBA was prepared for this, and it does have a Kentucky twist to it. So let's get into that.
You had that French player come out earlier this week, but
oh my gosh, what a beast! But let's show you this one.
This is great. Great.
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
And the post goes out that he's got a lawyer team behind him. If he doesn't get drafted, he's going to sue.
Yeah, absolutely, he is.
Do you got the picture of the French player too?
I can get it.
I thought I emailed it to you for this segment, but she has transitioned. And last season, just concluded the other day, the French League, French Pro League, she averaged 20 points, 21 rebounds, and set the all-time record of, in one game, 21 points and 30 rebounds. And said, I am waiting a call from the WNBA. I will take the call.
Yeah, let me see if I can find
look on the emails I sent you.
Yeah, I didn't have it in there. Here's a great picture over of this all.
Is that the one where they're flexing or where they're playing?
They're playing. The one where she's flexing is
it don't even look real. I mean, it doesn't look real, but playing, she's a pretty damn good player.
Yeah.
But when you're getting 20 rebounds a game, and that's average, that's not your high. So you're getting a lot of 25 and 26 point a game averages too, rebounds, and averaging 20 points. But her and her team have said in the French league that she's in, LIQUE, something like that, that she's waiting on a call from the WNBA. That's her on the right, Monaco number 20.
Yeah.
She is waiting on a call from the WNBA.
Born a biological male, fully transitioned. Look at them biceps. I would love to have biceps.
This lady is cut.
Ain't no way they're going to let her in the league.
No, it was she'd score.
Well, she'd average 20 points again. I mean, she would be dominant. And probably not be as soft as.
She wouldn't need no me bounds.
No.
To get her stats up.
Yeah, not at all. But it's important to understand why we're talking about this and why it matters. It's pretty obvious that this is the logical conclusion to this nonsense.
I support trans rights.
I'm here for it. If you're going to say you support anybody,
do it.
this morning, to get everybody up to date on who that was Enes Kanter Freedom, third overall pick in the 2011 NBA draft, 11 seasons, and one of the most outspoken human rights activists in American sports. We talked about Turkey earlier. He's wanted by the Turkey government because he posted, stuff on the internet. This will also.
He's no fan of China either.
No, he is not, and that's one of the reasons that he retired.
Yeah.
He posted a video of himself at a desk. You all just saw it there, wearing an orange WNBA sweatshirt with the Nike logo crossed out, declaring himself eligible for the WNBA draft in April of 2027. In his words, "My team and I have currently examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion." And then the line everyone is quoting at this point: "If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA." Now, I want to give you the part of his statement that's getting cut out of most posts because it matters. Freedom also wrote that he is definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices, that he's simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone, and that those are the rules representing values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for very loudly
in the last week.
That's his framing in full, and you're entitled to weigh in on it. Now, Craig, this is obviously a rhetorical device. He's 34 years old.
I don't know what it is or not.
I mean, maybe. I mean, they're gonna have to say no.
It's like,
this dude would average 40 points in the WNBA.
Yeah, and it's only because they'd run out of time.
Right.
There was also the same statement said in women's powerlifting.
Yep.
That you just had to declare that you're a female.
And
so this dude with a full beard, he was like 4 inches long. He goes in and does one deadlift, breaks a women's record by over 100 pounds. He said, "I could have put 200 pounds more on it," and then walked away. And he never said he was a woman.
Right.
Holds the WNBA, the female powerlifting record.
But why did he do it? Because a trans person had come in and broken the Canadian record for powerlifting by significant margins.
Yeah.
So, just stole it from other women who were competing. And so he came in and did the exact same thing to her. And she had the gall
complained
to complain about it after that. When her testosterone, her XY chromosomes alone gave her an advantage, but then she complained about it. But here's
I just want to get that in there. That's what this is transitioning. What Kanter's doing, he's calling them out on the same language they used in the powerlifting.
Yeah, absolutely. Golden State Valkyries forward Gabby Williams said she would welcome a trans athlete, as we said.
There you go.
Beaver head coach Stephanie White said she didn't have enough information to comment. I don't even know what that means.
That's like saying, "What's a woman?"
Yeah, so there is a real live disagreement inside the league among the women who actually play in it. It's not one-sided. Now, the fact that most of today's coverage is going to skip the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, Article 13, Section 1, says this: only players who are women are eligible to be in the NBA. Can't define it, though. If you can't define it,
right,
you can't put it in an agreement, right? That's the rule. The league has not adopted a
I
self-identification standard, but I think it would be transphobic for them to ask Venus to prove that.
It'd be lawsuit city. I'd own the league. And Clay Travis also said he would put his own team in, didn't he? And would be all transgender females.
Yeah, from Nashville. He wants to buy it because that's where his
what's he call them?
The Nashville Balls, because they play with basketballs, right?
Yeah,
they play with basketballs.
Yeah,
that's why
every player would be a trans player,
and every coach would also be trans,
right?
He could guarantee that would happen.
Yeah,
and if they're inclusive, then they have to accept them. If they're not inclusive,
I don't know how many games the WNBA plays, 40 or 42, something like that. His team
half as many as the dudes do.
Yeah, his his team would be 42-0 if they play 42 games.
They would never lose a quarter.
Right. I don't think. Yeah, every game would be over 30 points because he won't call them off.
No, why would you? They're just women too, Craig.
He's railed on it forever, and you want to win, you got to dominate because you never know, they could come back like they do in the NBA in the fourth quarter.
I will tell you this. This is my take on this, Craig, and you can tell me if you agree or not. I think this stunt did, and I'll tell you what I think.
It's a stunt. I don't think it's a stunt.
I'll tell you what this announcement did. where I come down is this: Sophie Cunningham's position, and I say it plainly, I don't think it's fair for athletes who went through male puberty to compete against women in elite sport. I have a daughter. I did not have ex
Yeah.
Kentucky men's
That's
being
hilarious.
a WNBA. I totally agree, Bub. Are you
Oh, I'm trying to get it on there. You canceling me out?
there? You go.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That
it
wins for
absolutely
the
is.
day.
I have a daughter who competes at the NCAA Division I level. It is not, and by the way, my daughter has played against trans athletes before, and it is not fair. And she was very upset about it when it happened in high school. It would not be fair if she had to compete against a biological male in college track by any stretch of any imagination. And I don't think saying that makes anybody a bigot. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right that a man or a biological man, somebody born with XY chromosomes, competing against biological women is fair. I don't think that makes me a bigot. I think that just makes me a realist. What Sophie Cunningham said, she never said, is that she hated anybody. And I think that's
Right.
fair. Anybody that follows her knows that. And I believe her.
I think she even said love in her statement.
I agree. And the speed with which people jump to that accusation is a good part of why this argument never gets anywhere. Now, what this announcement has done, it got attention, and Riley Gaines called it genius, and I understand the appeal. Make them apply their own stated rules to a 6'10" former NBA center who has, battled against some of the greatest ever.
Tallest person in the WNBA.
It would be the tallest person. Here is a little bit of a problem, and it's a friendly one. The WNBA's contract already says only women are eligible. Now, the question then becomes, are you the WNBA, this activist organization? Are you gonna be the ones to define a woman?
Yeah, somebody's got to.
Boy, that slippery slope at this
Mine's
point,
upstairs.
right? I mean, that is interesting. The honest situation right now is that the professional league has a contested eligibility question it will not address. Players on both sides speaking publicly with really no guidance from the front office. The worst commissioner in all of professional sports.
Yep,
She's terrible. That is a failure of leadership, and it's the same failure, whichever answer you'd prefer to give. Whether you think trans people should play, or whether you think men should play, or you think nobody should play, there is no leadership, and that is a failure at the highest level. A written policy is the thing that actually settles it for Sophie Cunningham, for Gabby Williams, and for every other little girl coming up who'll be governed by it. It's important that you figure this out.
I was going to say, you're already seeing it, and you just got to make it to the pro level. I discovered there's a women's professional softball league, and they're darn good players. They can rocket the ball.
Yep.
But you'll have a trans male get in there, and he'll hurt them. He'll hit it so hard he'll hurt them. You got the Connecticut boys that won the state tournament 4 years in a row, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
By 20 yards, they were beating their opponents. It's happened out in California. That male soccer player for San Jose broke the girl's face by spiking the ball.
Volleyball.
What did I say? I meant volleyball.
You said soccer.
Well, spiking her face, breaking her jaw, or breaking her cheek. But it's going to have to run through this. They're all supporting it. They're willing to constantly talk about it. It's not going to go to court because you got to have somebody in the league to play or participate before you take it to court, right?
If he's denied the ability to play.
No, could they go to court right now and say, we're only doing females, biological females? Can they do that?
They'd have to change their policy, and then somebody would have to challenge the policy.
Okay. But Benny Johnson's where I first saw the post. Yeah. And he said he'll fund his legal team if they decide to take it to court. But that's where it's going to end up. And will Title IX survive, Kyle? Will Title IX survive through this?
I don't know. I don't know why we're destroying Title IX. Title IX did amazing work for women to have the ability to compete in all sports, high school, college, professional, everything. And it's those same people that are now tearing it down to allow dudes to play. Now, do I think Enes Kanter should play in the WNBA? Absolutely not. But let's quit being silly about this and saying, yeah, I'd be fine with trans women playing in the WNBA. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Not if it cost her job.
Exactly. Especially these coaches who were like, oh, we should absolutely allow. Okay, let Travis come in and bring his team in.
Yeah,
let Clay Travis come in and bring his team in.
Yeah, draft them.
I mean, just
add another team, but that will generate millions in revenue. Millions.
They'd be the most popular team
by a mile.
By far.
People say Caitlin Clark, who? Angel Reese, who?
We're 3 hours away from Nashville. I'd consider buying season tickets. Because I can sell them easily and make more money.
Hell, I'd ride down there just to watch the
absolutely.
Competition. I'll drive.
Opening game and every game after.
You buy the tickets, I'll drive.
Let's do it. It sounds like a plan. The other thing that people need to understand, for those of you who are understanding why we give so much care about this, we still would have carried the story. However, you have to remember Enes Kanter actually signed with Kentucky out of high school. He's from Turkey. Never played a single game in Lexington. The NCAA ruled him permanently ineligible over about what they claim was about $33,000 he'd taken from a Turkish club as a teenager. The audacity of the NCAA not allowing this guy. Oh, he'd absolutely play today.
Yeah.
It's just a joke, unless he was a fifth-year senior, and then the NCAA would prevent him. Right. They'd file a lawsuit against him. So the man declaring for a draft to make a point about eligibility rules is a guy who once lost his entire career, his entire college career, to one, and make that of it what you will. But it sounds like, if it happened to him one time, let's go ahead and challenge all things. I will also say Enes Kanter has been a strong ally to the downtrodden across the world. He is against political wrongs. He has fought against genocide and things of that nature. He is a brave human being, and this will put a even larger target on the man's back.
Well, he thinks Turkey's got a contract out on him.
They absolutely do. And
if he goes into Turkey, he's immediately arrested.
And his family.
Yeah. And, he took on China with Shaq and LeBron when all of them bowed down to China.
Yep.
He was against them because of the way they treat their people, slave labor and stuff.
And let's be honest, the man's still in good shape. He could still be playing somewhere. He gave up his career.
Right. And changed his name to Enes Kanter Freedom.
Yep.
And so this is
became an American citizen.
Yeah. He's not like Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins.
No.
This is one guy that
stands on principle.
He talks the talk and walks the walk.
Absolutely. And that man never played a game for Kentucky. Still one of my favorite.
Yeah. Kentucky fans still like him because he chose Kentucky. And God,
I'll always remember the free Enes.
The t-shirts and
everything else. Yeah, just a sad situation. We'll obviously keep up with it. We'll let people know what happens through this entire thing.
News is breaking every day since all this started.
At this point. Yeah. Anything before we get out of here?
No, think that's it. Just have a good weekend.
I will say that 3 minutes ago, news has dropped about a mysterious object that the Pentagon has just dropped a video off. Over the Middle East.
Well, and one thing we're going to start doing, I'm going to grab some videos this weekend. We're going to start doing some reaction videos like you see other people do. We haven't decided yet if we're going to do them live or not, or just record them and shoot them out there at night. Yep. But those are a lot of fun. And if you want to participate in those reaction videos, and it's, police dragging somebody out of a car, or somebody getting too close to a gorilla and they try to pull them in the cage, silly, mostly fun, silly stuff, but there's some serious stuff. We're going to try to hit that a little bit too. So that just to give a little change from the hard news all the time.
Yep. Totally agree. And we will obviously keep you up to date on any of the stories that have come out this week that we will follow up. And if anything breaks this weekend with regard to Kentucky, which it very well could with the basketball team or courts intervening, we will probably cut in and let you guys know as well. So, Craig, thank you as always, and thank you for a long week. Thanks for being here with us. 2 long weeks. To everyone watching and listening, thank you for being here. If you caught our special episode with Jeff Farmer on the Flock cameras, thank you for that and any responses that you all have made. We read every comment. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't. Give us a like. Share this with someone who also needs to be above the noise. And as always, and we always end this way, make sure until next time that you guys stay informed, stay sharp and stay above the noise. You guys have a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you guys first of the week. Talk to you later.